All right. We live? Let's see what's going on, guys. If you could hear me, can you just drop a one in the chat box? All right. Lots of ones. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you guys are in the world. Just so I get a sense of the people who are here today, did anyone join this from the video that was posted from Nas Daily? There was a big video that Nas put out, and there's going to be a lot more, faces joining these calls. We are teaching 1,000 people, how to build a great dropshipping business. And so I want to get a sense, people are calling in from all around the world. So, if you're here, amazing. We always post recordings, and hopefully everyone gets to catch this call. Most people here know Elliot as the Zen Drop Academy coach, but I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with me. My name is Jared Getz. I'm the CEO and founder of Zen Drop, and I wanted to join this call because we are we're in a very special time. We're right through Q4. We're going into a new year. A new year is always an exciting time because it means new opportunities, new commitments, maybe trying things in a different way, in a new way, taking your business to the next level. Who here is excited to build a successful e-commerce business? Maybe you already have one, but maybe you want to scale it in 2026. Who's excited to make a big change in their business, in their cash flow going into 2026? Well, I'm here today because I think as important as tactics and, strategies are, it's just as important, or maybe even more important, to know what's possible, to know where you can go with a business like this, and really how to approach it and how to think about it from a high level. There's a ton of different people, teaching different ways to do things, but at the end of the day, the first thing to understand is that this is possible for you. Let me get just a sense of the audience here for a minute. If you're a total beginner and you don't have a store yet and you haven't made any sales, put a one in the chat box. If you already have a store and you're making sales or you've made at least one sale, drop a two in the chat box, just so I can get a sense of the audience I'm talking to here. All right, so we got a good mix of beginners and people that have stores and businesses. Um, it's good because there's always further you can go with e-commerce, with dropshipping. Um, I want to start by saying, I've been in the e-commerce space for over 10 years now. Um, Ever since I started with dropshipping, I've heard the same thing over and over again, which is dropshipping is dead. People always said dropshipping is dead. It doesn't work anymore. Um, the first thing I want to cover today, guys, is understanding exactly what dropshipping is and what it really means. People think of it in many different ways, but at the end of the day, it's just simply a fulfillment method for e-commerce. It's a way to sell products without ever seeing or touching them. So if people say dropshipping's dead, that means e-commerce is dead, which we all know is not true. But I've been hearing that since day one. And I was fortunate that when I first got started, I had a lot of success. Actually, the first product I tested generated millions of dollars. Now, that's not typical. Most people test products and it doesn't work. The first handful of products don't work. Um, I was fortunate, and because it worked for me, it gave me the confidence and it gave me the push to continue down the path, and really gave me the grit to keep going. So I just want to be extra clear that if you're a beginner and you haven't figured it out yet, you are just simply one product, one combination of product and audience away from things working for you. Um, so I got into this industry, a little bit over 10 years ago, and I actually started by flying out to China, um, to the Canton Fair to find viral products. And I was importing products in bulk. It would take 30 to 60 days to get to the warehouse. I was selling them online. I was reinvesting all my profits into getting more bulk orders. And I was kind of spinning my tires because it was a really hard business to build when all my money was going back into inventory and there was a lot of time and capital being wasted. And after a couple of years of doing this, I discovered drop shipping, which totally changed my world financially. I actually started drop shipping the same product that I was importing in bulk with a brand, and it was the inflatable lounger. I decided, you know what? If I could find a drop shipping supplier that can supply this product for me, and I don't need to buy 10,000 units of it, and I can find it for cheaper, I'm going to try selling it for cheaper. And when I launched my first drop shipping business, the same product I was selling with my brand, I started drop shipping, but I started acquiring customers at a fraction of the cost. And the reason wasn't for anything other than I was selling the product for cheaper, which was a huge lesson for me. With my brand, we were selling the product for $80 per unit. With the drop shipping store, I was selling it for $35 per unit. But my cost per acquisition went down from 40 to $50 down to $5. So the price of the product made a tremendous difference in the life of the business. And obviously, acquiring customers at $5 is amazing and it's rare, but I capitalized on it. I scaled my ads and I got that store. That store actually generated $2 million in 60 days, which was a life changer for me. At the time, I thought it was too good to be true. I thought, this is going to stop at any moment. Thank you, God, for this additional capital, but I understand it can't always be this way. But fast forward months later, the store was generating about $50,000 a day in revenue, and that went on for a really long time. It wasn't until I had a supplier from China who sent out 7,000 fake tracking codes that I hit my first roadblock. But that's neither here nor there. That was kind of the reason we started ZenDrop, was to make supply chain better for drop shippers. But I say this because if you're a beginner, if you're just getting started, you probably have a bit of a conflict. You're probably partially excited about this business, but on the other hand, you're probably partially skeptical. Will it work? Will it not work? And so I want to, the point I'm trying to get across today is I want to zoom out on the business itself, talk about how do you think about this business? Where do you focus? And what's the formula to build a successful business in this dropshipping space? And it's really important that we understand that this business model does work. It's just a matter of putting in the time, committing to the time, committing to trying the things that we teach on these calls and in ZenDrop Academy. And eventually, something you do will work. And any beliefs you had about it not working will disappear and you'll be on your path. So my goal is to get you on that path today. All right. Let me share my screen. I have a digital notebook here that I'm prepared because I want to share some things with you guys. Um, Let me see the chat box over here. Can you guys see my screen? Give me a one in the chat box if you can see my screen. Good. All right. So the formula for a successful e-commerce business is very simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. It is a combination of picking the right product, selling it at the right price, targeting the right audience with the right creative. If you get those things right, you can generate a lot of money. In the example I gave earlier, originally I was selling a product. I had the product part down. I had the right audience. I had the right creatives, but the price point was wrong. When I was selling it for $80, I was acquiring customers with my Facebook ads for $40 to $50 per customer. After the cost of goods, shipping, merchant processing fees, I wasn't making much profit. But when I lowered the price to $35, I was acquiring customers for $5 with my Facebook ads. And guess what? A lot of customers didn't just buy one, they bought two, three, four. It was a great holiday present. So my average order value was still up in the $80 to $100 range, but I was acquiring customers at $5 a piece. So I highlight that because this is the formula, guys. It's finding the right product, selling it at the right price, to the right audience with the right creatives. So, if that's the formula and you're focusing on any one of these things and not the others, it's not going to work. So, the way I like to think about building a successful business is testing broad and then perfecting what works. So a lot of people when they start something new and maybe they've never generated significant income before and they have, beliefs about what's possible, what's not possible. A lot of people start to focus on things that don't really matter that much. Prior to starting ZenDrop, I had one of the largest e-commerce education businesses in the world. And I had the privilege of coaching thousands of people on how to build successful e-commerce businesses. And there was one thing that when someone showed up to a coaching call would determine I would know with almost absolute certainty if they were going to be successful or if they're going to fail with their business. And I'll tell you, it was not how smart they were. It was not how resourceful they were. It was not how much technical skills they had. It was simple. If someone showed up to the call excited versus if they showed up to the call skeptical. So again, the formula, guys, is really simple. You got to find the right product, right price point, right audience, right creative. And if you're excited to do that, you're going to have a lot more energy. You're going to try more things. And eventually, something you try is going to work. But if you show up to the skeptical, you're going to be looking for every reason why it's not going to work. And eventually, you're going to give up and it's going to fail and you're not going to succeed in your business. So before we get into anything technical, before we get into any strategy, I want to be extremely and abundantly clear that the most important trait to have going into this is excitement. It's waking up and thinking about all I need to do is find the right product, the right price, the right audience with the right creative to have a successful business. And let me ask you guys a question. How many products do you think are available to dropship? Put it in the chat box. How many different products can you guys sell today if you wanted to? How many different products are available to add to your store and sell? Give me some numbers. Infinite, unlimited, 1 million, 1 million plus, 5,000. No, wrong. There's millions of products that you can sell. Okay? And how many people live in this world? Someone give me the answer. How many people are alive today on our planet? 8 billion. Okay. So, if there's millions of products and billions of people, what are the odds that you can't find the combination of product and people to succeed? The answer is zero. The combination is there. You just need to put in the time, energy, and commitment to find that combination. And once you find that combination and you make your first sale, maybe some of you guys haven't made your first sale yet. Maybe some of you guys have made some sales, but it hasn't really changed much for you yet. Once you find that first combination and have that first winning product, everything changes because any skepticism you have goes away and all that energy translates into excitement. That's what happened for me. That's what happened for many people that I've seen over the years. So again, before we get into tactics, tools, ways to do things, I know you guys are itching to figure out exactly what to do next. I want to highlight that you need to show up to this business excited. If you have any skepticism, it's going to consume you, and that's where you're going to give up. But I want you to know, you have all the tools, you have all the resources to build a successful business. Okay. So again, there's millions of products, there's billions of people. So with that, what most people do is they focus on things that don't matter. Right? People focus on things like, setting up my LLC, making sure I have my business banking, making my landing page perfect, making my copy perfect. right? They spend a whole bunch of energy on things that don't matter. And then the truth is that when you're drop shipping, it's going to be about one out of 10 to 20 products will work. So imagine you put a bunch of energy into one product. You spend a whole bunch of time trying to perfect everything. You take days, weeks perfecting it all, and then you launch ads and it doesn't work. Then you feel disappointment. And then you do it over again. You spend weeks perfecting something else and it doesn't work. You feel more disappointment, right? And then you do it again. And it's only so much disappointment you can handle before you give up. So the way I look at it is you want to focus on the things that do matter in the beginning, which is testing as many products as you could with the lowest budget that you could to find data that validates a product. And then once something works, once it works, then you focus on perfecting, right? Then you build out your brand around that product. Then you go and create, a bunch of new video creatives and photo creatives and you perfect your copy, right? Because you only have so much energy you could spend in a day. And you need to use that energy wisely. The goal of dropshipping is to find this combination right here, right? This is the combination. You have so much energy you can use in a day. So you want to test as broad as you could, find something that works, and then put your energy into perfecting that thing and using the tools, using the strategies, using the things we teach in Zen Drop Academy to scale and succeed, right? So most people, they focus on what doesn't matter, they get burnt out and they give up. I don't want that for you guys today. I want you guys to succeed. Another big limiting belief um, that we need to get over is how many successful e-commerce businesses do you guys think there are in the world right now? Give me a number. How many people make money with e-commerce today? Put a number in the chat box. Correct. There's millions. And right now there's less than 100 people on this call. Or I don't know what the number is because I'm sharing my screen, but it's not that many. There there is plenty of room for everyone here to have a successful business because there's millions of people making money online right now. So, there's a limiting belief that, oh, it's saturated, there's too many people doing it. Wrong. There's plenty of room. All of you guys could succeed in this business, and I hope that you all will. Again, excitement for skepticism. So, I'm trying to train the way you think about this business because the way you think about it is more important than the things you actually do if you want to build a successful business here. So, a few things I want you guys to commit to. All right. If this is a new journey for you, or if this is a relatively new journey for you and you're going into the new year with new goals, I want a few things for you guys to commit to. Number one is consistency. So when I first got started, there's a million reasons why you'd take no action. It's, oh, I don't know exactly what to do today. Or, oh, there's so many things I could do, but I don't think any of them are important. I want to just, 'cause those thoughts will come up. I want you guys to commit to putting at least 1 hour into your business every day until it succeeds. At least 1 hour, hopefully more. But even on days where you don't know what to do, you you silence all your notifications on your phone, you put on some headphones, you go on your computer, and you start taking action on your business because the thing we need to build is momentum. So even on days where you don't know what to do, if you do something, you'll build momentum. And an object in motion stays in motion. But if you're not in motion, you know, this excitement you might have right now, right? And I'm not trying to overhype anything for you guys, but the truth is this could be a life-changing business for you. If you don't start taking action every single day and keep momentum, eventually it's going to fade away. Real life's going to creep back in. Your friends and family that aren't doing this, all the things that they think or say are going to creep into your mind. And eventually you're just going to say, yeah, it didn't work out. I'm going to go do something else. But if you really want this, you can have it. Give me a one in the chat box if this is something that you genuinely, really, 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 really want. Great. So if you really want this, we need to stick to some commitments. Again, this is not rocket science, guys. We need to commit to consistency, at least 1 hour per day into this business, no matter what. I don't care if you don't know what to do. You put your headphones on, you open up Shopify, you open up Zendrop Academy, you watch a video, you take action, at least 1 hour per day, right? We can all commit to that. The other thing is I want you to commit to is speed over perfection. Again, we have limited energy that we could spend in a day. And the goal is to find the combination of product, price point, audience, and creative. So if you're trying to perfect everything, it's going to take you a lot longer to find that combination. Whereas, okay, maybe my landing page has grammatical errors. Who cares? Maybe my video ad, the audio is not perfectly synced up. Who cares? Right? Maybe maybe it's in the wrong language. Okay, change the language up, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? So the commitments you need to make if you really want to make a change this year are committing to consistency, committing to speed over perfection, and last but most important is regularly getting excited and removing any thoughts of skepticism. Okay? If you can commit to those things, you guys are smart enough to figure this out, especially with our help, with all the resources in Zendrop Academy, with the coaching calls we do, with the office hours we do. Your job is to commit to this. Okay? And then once you get your first sale, the whole world changes. I remember like it was yesterday, my first sale drop shipping came in on my phone. I fulfilled the order and I had this moment of, oh my goodness, I just made $13 and I wasn't doing anything. I was doing something else. I just made $13. And then I remember my first day where I made 100 sales. And it was like, wow, I just made more money than my mom makes at her full-time job for her whole life, per day doing really nothing, right? And I remember my first time doing 1,000 sales in a day, and I was making literally like generational money, right? Your beliefs about what are possible, you're going to shatter through them. Your new normal is going to be way greater than you can imagine if you commit to these things. Is that clear, guys? Does that make sense? You guys following along? Because this stuff's more important. A lot of people here thinking, oh, I just want to learn the tactics, tools. What do I do? What do I do? But please tell me, is this clear? This stuff needs to be clear. It's very important. I don't want to make, I don't want you guys to waste your time here. I want you guys to win. And there's millions of people winning, meaning you can win too. But just remember, speed, commitment to consistency, and being excited over skeptical. These are the things that are going to lead you to building an amazing business, guys. Does that make sense? All right. Well, um, what else do I want to share? So let me stop sharing my screen. Guys, I'm just trying to be as real with you as possible. There's unlimited resources. You're going to have office hours. You have Zendrop Academy. You have millions of products you can test. It's up to you to do the work. It's up to you to try it. And your goal should be to make your first sale. Okay. So getting into the more tactical stuff. Elliot, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, guys. So a lot of you guys know Elliot. He's been a Zendrop Academy coach for a while now. Everyone loves him. He's been extremely helpful. For those of you who don't know Elliot, he's in it. He owns his own dropshipping store. He works with you guys regularly. He's generated 7 figures dropshipping. He's much more hands-on than I am. I own Zendrop. I got a lot of things I'm doing. Elliot's working on the dropshipping business and with you guys. He is who we chose as Zendrop to coach you guys on the tactics, on the tools, answering questions about your business, about the strategy. So I want to bring Elliot in to finish off the lesson today and go into some stuff, on the basics going into 2026. And I'll be joining these calls on occasion to be here to motivate you guys and help you guys. I really want to, join these calls. I want to hear success stories. I want to hear about your first sale. In fact, when you make your first sale, send me a private message on Instagram. I want to know about it. But I wanted to, people don't think the things that I'm sharing early on this call are important. These are the most important things. Your mindset, your beliefs, and your commitments to consistency are what's going to separate the winners from the losers here, guys. So we can go deeper on this stuff. We can go deeper on energy. We can go deeper on how to focus, on how to change your mindset. But for the rest of this call, Elliot's going to go into some tactics and strategies for 2026. Does that sound good, guys? All right.
Yeah.
Elliot, take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jared. I think that was really helpful for everybody. Um, yeah, really, really helpful. So much appreciated. Um, Great to see everybody on the chat. This is a very busy call, which we're really pleased to see. Um, of course, some familiar faces who have joined these calls many, many times, but for everybody who's joining for the first time, as Jared said, um, I run these coaching calls. We do two a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays at the exact same time as this call. In terms of my own personal credentials, I've been dropshipping for 8 years. I have done seven figures in revenue across three stores. I still currently run my own stores. Um, and yeah, as Jared mentioned, I can give you a little bit more information about a little bit more detail about the tactics of running things, finding products, building stores, running ads. But I definitely think it's super important um, to cover the mindset stuff. As Jared mentioned, it probably is. It's the start of everything, right? If you don't get your uh, if you don't have the right mentality, you'll never succeed, right? Now, for the last 30 minutes of the call, there are a few things that I want to go over, particularly going over the strategy for 2026, how you can start your stores, and giving you a high level kind of guide of what you need to do. For those of you who join every week, I still think this is super important. It can still kind of help you formulate how you're going to grow your businesses in 2026. So let me start sharing with my screen with you, and we can go over some of this stuff. So let's just share this. Now, the first thing I just want to mention is the Zendrop Academy, right? Because everybody here is part of the Zendrop Academy. When you're in the Zendrop Academy, so you can join the community, you should have a link to it. What I would recommend checking out after this call is to have a look at the courses and modules. So if we just come over to courses and modules, we have lots of courses in the Zendrop Academy, things from finding products, using different tools, building your store, connecting your store with Zendrop so you can actually have your products fulfilled by Zendrop, choosing color schemes, creating logos, everything that you need to do to set up your store, find products, and actually start selling. We have modules on how to fulfill orders, how to launch Facebook ads. So definitely have a look at this, because this is basically going to be a good point for you to build your business. Another area to mention is the community hub. So if we come into the community hub, you can actually ask questions in here. So you can reach out to myself and our other coach, Ali. So if you do have any questions between these weekly calls, you can put them in the community hub, and you can also interact with other community members as well. You can share how your business is going, if you've made your first sale, what you're struggling with, if you have any questions. So it's not just to reach out to us coaches, but it's also to interact with other community members. And then also, just after today, you'll see the live coaching sessions here that we run every week. We do have our recordings. So this call is being recorded. So if you do want to watch it back, you can come into the recordings and you can watch it back. I also recommend to check out some of the previous recordings from our other coaching calls. So for example, last week, I done a full call on product research for 2026. So again, this is going to be probably a good place to start for you to start picking products that you want to start selling. But for the rest of the call, I want to go over the strategy for 2026. I know um, Jared has kind of set the stage in terms of how you should think about building your dropshipping business. And as he mentioned, going with excitement, going with enthusiasm, rather than a mentality that's not going to work. I'm going to give you a little bit more tactical and strategy to how to actually go about this. And as Zendrop, we always kind of mention like it just takes one product, right? You could build your whole business, you can launch it with one product. That's, one product can really change the trajectory of your business, of your life, and you can scale one product. I saw somebody in the chat mentioned about how do we test products? What do you mean testing products? So essentially, the way dropshipping works, right? I'm just going to break this down to a very, very beginner level. You want to find a product, you build a Shopify store around it. You never have to hold any inventory. This is what Zendrop is for. So if we come over to Zendrop, this is the Zendrop platform. You can find products on here and you can connect your Shopify store to Zendrop. And when somebody purchases a product from Shopify, that purchase is synced through to your Zendrop account and Zendrop will ship it to your customer, right? So all of their information is shipped through and you take a profit. So for example, this watch here, you can get it on Zendrop for $14. You can sell it for, let's say, $54. You make a $40 profit, right? Now, when it comes to testing products, you basically want to build your store and you're going to attempt to market multiple different products until you find one that works. So that's all testing means is you're going to market products to different audiences and see which one gets traction, see if any of the products that you're marketing actually make any sales. And the products that make sales, you're just going to double down on those products, continue to market them, continue to increase marketing those products and scale them and increase your profits. So when you're researching products, you don't need a massive catalog of products on your store. I think this is a big misconception. I think a lot of people think they need, 50, 60, 70, 80 products on their store or hundreds of products on your store. You only really need to research 3 to 5 really well-researched products. And as I say, I recommend checking out this live call from last week and also our Zendrop Academy lessons to look at product research. But like I say, if you've done your research, you can find products that have potential and you only need 4 or 5 of these products. You can put them in a list, a priority list. You can say, I'm going to test this one first. If it doesn't work, I'm going to test this one second, third, fourth, fifth. I call this a hero product. So you need a hero product in your store, the main product in your store that's going to bring in majority of sales. And then you can have potential upsell products. So an upsell is a much cheaper, more affordable product that you have on your store that allows you to bring in some additional sales. You don't actually market it. You don't run any ads to your upsell products. I'm going to show you an example in a moment, right? So we'll have a look at a couple of stores so you can kind of understand all of this. And I will look at some of the questions in a moment. But basically, this is the strategy. You're going to research 3 to 5 potential products that you want to start marketing, right? The product should adhere to a specific set of criteria. As I say, I recommend checking out this product research live call from last week, where I go over this set of criteria in detail, okay? Because you don't just want to sell anything. Then you're going to build your Shopify store. We're going to have a look at some examples. There's a certain structure and a way to build your store so it can make sales. And then you're going to pick one marketing channel. So you can see here, I've put one marketing channel. Again, there's a misconception of trying to market your store everywhere, but you're really better off putting your time and effort into one marketing channel, mastering that marketing channel, cracking that marketing channel, making sales from that channel. And then when you are making sales, then you can branch out. So you can see I've given a few examples of marketing channels here. So we have organic. So organic basically just means posting on social media. So for any of you who have a smaller budget, or you don't have a very big budget, you can order some of the products that you want to sell. You can create content for them, and you can post that across TikTok, across Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, Pinterest, various different social media platforms, right? So this is a very cost-effective way to get started. For anybody who has a little bit more budget, right? You've got some money saved and you want to invest it in your business. You have some advertising platforms that you can also use. So you have Meta ads, which is Facebook and Instagram. You have TikTok ads, which is TikTok, Google ads, and Pinterest ads. As a complete beginner, I recommend to go for Meta ads, which is Facebook and Instagram, because it's the easiest platform to actually get your ads set up. Very low barrier to entry. Um, you don't really need much technical knowledge to get it set up. Some of these other platforms are a little bit more tricky. So just think of it like this. You're going to research 3 to 5 products based on our research modules and our research live calls. You're going to research a few potential upsell products. So these are smaller, cheaper products that are complementary to your main product. And then you're going to build a store that looks good, right? Professional, trustworthy, which I'll show you in a moment, a few examples. And then once you've built your store, you're going to market those potential hero products on one of these platforms. So either you're going to create video content and post it on social media, or you're going to run ads on Facebook and Instagram. That's basically the strategy as a whole. And you're going to run ads to a few different products. Once you find one that starts to get some traction and make sales, then you simply go all in with that product. Run more ads, create more ads, and scale it that way. That's the whole strategy. It's fairly simple when you break it down. I'm going to show you an example, right? This store here is a dropshipping store. All they sell are watches. They do have 2 different strategies. You can create a store where you sell products from all different categories. So it could be, you have a very general name and you create product pages like this for multiple different products, or you can build your store around one niche, like this store. They just sell watches. In my personal preference, I build my stores around one niche, generally because I just have more knowledge of certain niches anyway. So I find it easier to market products in those niches that I have knowledge of. But both strategies can work. The main thing is that your product pages are optimized for sales, right? So don't really worry when you're designing your store. Don't worry too much about the homepage, about the collection pages. The main thing that you want to focus on is building good product pages. The product page is the most important page. This is where people actually buy the product. So when you're building out your stores, think of, already have it in your mind now that most of your effort is going to go into building your product pages, right? And again, this comes back to here. This is why I only recommend researching a small amount of products, because then you only need to create product pages for those products that you want to start marketing. So again, if we have a look at this store, it's a drop shipping store. All they do is sell watches. You can see they sell this watch here for $72, right? If we have a look on Zendrop, you see you can get a very similar product for $14. Okay, so you can see this product has a big markup, a good profit margin with 8-day shipping. Okay. Now, when it comes to, again, building out your product pages, we do have full lessons in the Zendrop course modules. So if we just come down here, you'll see we've got all of these about product page layout, product images, product copy, all of that stuff. But like I say, you want to put most of your effort into your product pages. Make sure they look clean, professional. You've got copy that hits on customers' pain points and solutions. So again, get this into your mindset when you're researching products. Think about what outcome does a product provide to a customer? It can be a tangible outcome. So if I show you another product, these massage insoles, they provide a tangible outcome, an actual real outcome, right? Which is that it's going to help prevent foot pain for you. That's a tangible outcome. It can also be an emotional outcome, right? So this product here provides an emotional outcome. Become the man, right? So when men buy this watch, it's about becoming the man, right? Being a successful man. Success isn't claimed, it's earned, right? You get the idea. This is selling a product in an emotional way and providing an emotional outcome to a customer. And this product is providing a tangible outcome to a customer, right? So walk pain free. So again, you can, once you dive deeper into the product research modules, it's this will become easier. But again, just get this in your mind. When you're thinking about researching products and designing your product pages, you always want to focus on the outcome for the customer, either a tangible outcome or an emotional outcome. What are the customer's pain points? And how does your product provide a solution to those pain points? So again, with this product, um, the pain point is that they've got uh, um, pain in their feet, right? And this product provides a solution to that. With this product, the pain point is maybe a man doesn't feel very confident, or they don't feel like that they earn respect, things like that, emotional pain points. And this product solves that. Okay. Now, again, if we have a look at this product, we can see you can get it on AliExpress here, the exact same product for 76. This is about $1, right? You can get it for about $1, and they sell them for about $25. Now, if you can't find a product on Zendrop, of course, the reason we don't just recommend Zendrop because it's our platform. The reason we recommend Zendrop is because you get faster shipping than AliExpress. It's more reliable than AliExpress because AliExpress suppliers can just, drop off the face of the earth and stop fulfilling your orders. You could do things like branded cards inside your package, so you can actually build a brand around your business. So if you can't find a product within Zendrop, you can find it on AliExpress like this, and you can come to request a product. If you click on request a product, then you can paste in a link to AliExpress, and you can click on request, and you can actually get a quote for that product from Zendrop, right? So then you can start fulfilling any product that you find on AliExpress through Zendrop. So you get faster shipping, like I say, you get a more reliable supplier, you can brand your products. And once you actually start selling 20 units per day, then you can get access to this private agent service where you can actually print your logo on the product. You can get custom packaging. So then you can really build your e-commerce brand, right? Now, again, for anyone that's a beginner, this is, you don't need to worry too much about this right now. All you need to do is think about testing products. So we've kind of gone over, like I say, thinking about outcomes, tangible outcomes or emotional outcomes for customers, building your store. When you're researching products, just Google competitors. Okay, so again, like I say, when you've checked out the product research modules in here and you've had a look at the recordings on product research, if we just come into the live calls recordings, when you've had a look at the recordings on product research, you'll then have an idea of what products you want to sell. You can just Google and have a look at competitor stores and use those as a skeleton for your own store. Use those to model your store around. So again, let's say you wanted to start selling watches, you can have a look at this store here and you can build out your product page based on what's already working. Okay. Now, most pages follow this structure. So like I say, it's headline, paragraph, image. You'll have a couple of these. You'll have some social proof and reviews, and you'll have some FAQs. You'll see most stores follow this type of structure for their product page. I'm not going to get too deep into this right now because I think it's easier, it's better explained in the courses. And we do store reviews every Thursday as well. So you can join our Thursday calls, paste a link to your store, and I'll review them and give you feedback on how you can actually improve them. But like I said, once you've decided what products that you want to test, you can also look on the Meta ads library. So this, so like I say, Meta is Facebook and Instagram ads. This basically lets you look for free at any competitor store and all of their ads they're running. So if we have a look at this watch store, you could see they've been running ads since August this year. Okay, so that's a really good sign. That means if they've been running ads for 4 to 5 months, they're very likely making some very good sales. They're not going to run ads for no reason if they're not profitable, if they're not making sales. So this kind of brings the strategy full circle. They've got their couple of their main products that they sell. Same with this store here. They've got their one hero product, which adheres to this criteria. They've built their store to make it look professional and well branded. and now they're running ads on Facebook and Instagram to those products. And when it comes to creating ads, again, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but if you can create the ads yourselves, you can, you'll save a lot of budget. So, for example, with this watch store, if I just click play, you can see they create all of the ads themselves. So, a guy just ordering the watch, he's just filming it, filming some content, taking some pictures, and that's how they're running ads. If we have a look at this store here, they sell these massage insoles. They're also running a lot of ads. They're running 2,700 ads on Facebook and Instagram, again, which is a good sign. It means they're spending a lot on ads. So therefore, they're very likely making a lot of sales. They're using a combination of video and image ads. So you can see this is their image ad here. So you can design these yourself as well using tools like Canva. If we have a look in the ZenDrop Academy lessons, we show you how to do that. So like I say, I recommend to check that out after this call. But basically the point I'm trying to get across is you can literally see what other successful stores are doing, and you can model your own store on what they're doing. It doesn't mean you have to completely rip them off and completely copy exactly everything they're doing, but it can help you. You can get some inspiration. You can help you to come up with ideas, and you can take some of these ideas and put them into ChatGPT and say, how could I recreate this for my own store, for my own product that I'm selling? So everything's there for you to be successful. As Jared said, if you can just put 1 hour a day into this, there's no reason why you can't be extremely successful next year, right? In it's going to take time and effort, but you should see at least some results if you are putting the time and effort in. So I'm going to just stop that there now because I think that's probably a good starting point for everybody in the chat, and we will go over now some Q&A in the chat. So let's have a look. Ivy said, how long will the call last? We're going to stay on for another 10 minutes just to go through some Q&A. Joy said, where do we find the meta ads to check out competitors? Just go to Google and type in the meta ads library. And that's where you'll see. Once you click on the meta ads library, then you can type in a brand name in there and you can see if they're running ads, and then you can see all of the ads that they are running. Ivy said, how much do we need to invest? That's a very, very good question. If you're going to go down the organic route, which is you basically buy the product, you film content for it, and you post that content on social media. So like I say, on TikTok and Instagram Reels, you can start with a very small budget. You only need enough money to order some of the products that you want to sell. If you do want to run ads, I would say you probably need around $750 to start running ads and have some meaningful tests. So yeah, if you're on a smaller budget, you could pretty much start with like $100, order some products in. You need some money for a domain name and a Shopify trial, which is only $1, and you can get started. Let's have a look at some of these other questions. Rakib said, where do we start now? I would recommend having a look at the ZenDrop Academy lessons. That's probably the best place to start, yeah, if you want to get started now. Marilu said, do we need to build a store in Facebook meta ads? No. So you build your store with Shopify, and then you run ads on Facebook, for example, a video ad, and that video ad links through to your Shopify store. So somebody clicks on your Facebook video ad and they click from Facebook through to your Shopify store. So you don't actually build the store on Meta, you build it on Shopify. Sylvia said, I'd like to know, when can we reasonably start to become profitable? You can become profitable fairly soon. If you start running ads, you could become profitable within a month. Of course, there's a caveat to that. You may need to test a few different products. You may need to tweak a few things on your store. You may need to try a few different ads. But if you do your research and you get things right first time, and with a bit of luck, yeah, you can become profitable pretty quickly. Tanya said, how do we know how much to charge for shipping? Yeah, that's a good question. Again, have a look at the product research module because that goes into a bit more detail on margins and how much to actually charge, how much to sell your products for. And it really just depends on the margin. So if you have enough margin, so let's say, for example, you the watch I just showed you, you get it for $14 on Zendrop, you sell it for $54 on your store. That means you have a $40 margin. You can charge free shipping then because you have a strong margin. You have a strong enough margin, you've got $40. You don't need to bring in extra money for shipping. So it really depends on the product that you sell, how much margin you have. For some products, you'll want to charge shipping. For some, you can do free shipping. So it really depends on a product to product basis. Murat said, what would you do in the following situation? I ordered a sample of the product I wanted to sell, and the packaging and the product itself doesn't look good. Should I completely change my course? If it functions as it should, and if it does what you're advertising that it does, then it's fine. If the packaging doesn't look great, it's not really a big issue. Customers are not going to ask for a refund just because the packaging doesn't look good. As long as the product does what you're advertising that it says it does, then that's not an issue. Larry said, I know it's Christmas on Thursday. We'll be doing store reviews. Okay, yeah. So just to mention everybody in the call, um, this Thursday and next Thursday, there won't be any office hour calls. So normally we do calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Just this Thursday and next Thursday, there won't be any calls because it is Christmas and then it's New Year's Day. So we are off for the holidays. But in the new year, everything will resume as normal. So we will be doing our Tuesdays and Thursday calls as normal after the 1st of January. Khalil said, are we selling literally organic items or are we able to sell branded stuff? You won't be selling branded stuff like name brands like Nike or Adidas or anything like that because we don't have the rights to allow people to sell those products. Ivy said Shopify is €1. Yeah, depends on the country you're in. €1, $1, £1, depending on where you are. Roxanne said, do you have a suggested theme or app for Shopify when it comes to building a product page? Looking for a free solution. You can just use the Dawn theme, and that's basically like you can use the free theme, the default theme. In terms of apps, you don't really need any paid apps to start with. So you can literally start with a free theme and still in the Zendrop Academy lessons, we show you how to build a professional, good looking store with a completely free theme and no additional apps. So I recommend to have a look at that. Faris said, how much time do we need to test one product? It depends how quickly you can get things going, but you can start testing your first product, within a week. If you do the research, build your store and create your ads within a couple of weeks. And he said, for home and decor, what products will you recommend on Zendrop? I recommend to have a look at the live call from last week, the recording of that. That will allow you to research your own products in home and decor because they have to meet a certain set of criteria. So I can't just, off the top of my head, give you products. I would need to research them a bit more thoroughly. But I recommend to check that live call from last week. Marilu said, am I right in thinking you never use TikTok as a supplier in your store? No, you wouldn't use TikTok. Use Zendrop as your supplier. Ferris said, how important is page speed? You want your store to be fast. Most Shopify stores are fast by default, so it's not massively important. May said, can you give us recommendations around what kind of offers to do after a New Year holiday? So you can do a New Year offer, New Year sale, or January sale. They do a lot of January sales, things like that. Maslow said, how do you pick a niche? I recommend checking out the Zendrop Academy for that. We have lessons on that, on picking a niche. But I mean, the easiest way to pick a niche is just to pick something that you have some knowledge of. So, for example, I have a golf store because I have some knowledge of golf. I know what type of products people will like. I know what type of ads to create, what type of content to create. So just it's easier to pick a niche that you have knowledge of. You don't have to be an expert. I'm not an expert at golf, but just have a little bit of knowledge of it. It makes it a bit easier. Mio said, is the Shopify store best? What do you think about ClickFunnels? Yeah, I would go for Shopify personally. It's cheaper than ClickFunnels. And for e-commerce, they just have uh, more features that you can add to your store in comparison to ClickFunnels. Sylvia said, if I'm based in the EU, can I sell in the US? Yeah, you can sell to any country you want to with Facebook ads. Again, this comes down to product research. So I'd recommend checking out the product research modules and the live call from last week, because you might find a product that's saturated in the US, but you could sell it to another country like Canada or the UK or New Zealand. Someone said, is it good to do eBay as a sales funnel? I wouldn't recommend eBay for drop shipping. So we focus on building Shopify stores because you can build a proper brand. You can actually charge more for your products when you build a store around them, a brand around them. eBay is slightly a different business model. And he said, do you do one-on-one coaching sessions? We do have, if you go into the Zendrop community hub, there is a link to book a call with our other coach, Ali. They do get booked up quite quickly, however. So you have to have a look in there and see if there's any calls free. Miko, good to see you as well. Miko said, I was wondering what additional support is available when working with private agent at Zendrop. For example, is it possible to request real product photos or videos? I think they do have photography services, yeah. Videos, I'm not 100% sure, but yes, I do believe you can request photos and content like that for your products with the private agent service. Farah said, how much time do I need to run my ads to test? It's more about how much you spend when testing, not how long you run the ads for. So I recommend to spend probably at least $100 testing a product. You could spend $100 over 30 days, or you could spend that in 2 days. So it's not really about the amount of time. It's just more about how much you spend on the campaign. So we are going to wrap it up there because we have just run out of time. But it was great to see everybody on the call, lots of new faces and lots of familiar faces as well. I hope everybody's excited to get started in 2026. We're a few weeks away. So just take this time. For anybody that does celebrate Christmas, I wish you a great Christmas. And for everybody else as well, I also wish everyone a good new year, and spend time with your family. Keep one eye on starting your business, but make sure the most important thing is, spend time with your family, enjoy the holidays, enjoy the new year, and then be ready in the new year to get started and put the effort in, and make 2026 a year that your dropshipping business is successful. So like I said, great to see everyone in the call. We will have our call. Let me just check the date. We will have our call next Tuesday. Let's just see what the date will be next Tuesday. I think it's New Year's Eve next Tuesday. Let's have a look. Yeah. No, next Tuesday is the 30th. Yeah. So our next coaching call will be on the 30th. Like I say, we usually do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but because of the holidays, we're not doing Thursday this week. So I will see you all next week on the 30th. And in the interim, check out the community hub for those lessons and those recorded calls. Okay, great to see everyone. Take care.